record. Hi, welcome back to Don't Blame Shar, the podcast where we dive into all things pop culture and the highs and lows of reality competition television. Today we're joined by Niki and Brittain, the two talented contestants from season 5 of Lego Masters. Whether you're a fan of reality television, Lego, or just love a good story about perseverance and creativity, this conversation is going to be packed with insights that you don't want to miss. So welcome Niki and Brittain to the Don't Blame Shar podcast, and congratulations on your journey so far. We appreciate you for joining us today and getting to share your experience, creative process, and reflections on the competition.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So our first question is, when you guys were initially selected to compete on Lego Masters, what were your initial thoughts and emotions?
Well, my initial thought was no, I'm not going. There's no way. It seemed like a high stress situation. And even though I loved to build, I just really didn't think that I was up for the task. But my sister had a different opinion.
This is true. I definitely pushed her into this. Initially when they reached out to her, she denied it and told me about it, I would say like at least a month or two later. And I virtually slapped her in the phone from Tennessee. And I was like, you need to reach back out to them and say yes. And also, you need to take me with you.
Absolutely. So would you guys say that this experience strengthened your bond as sisters, but also just friends in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. It just took it to a new level. Obviously, we see each other, we go through the highs and lows of life, but being next to each other in a situation where we get to experience the highs and the lows together nonstop for a very long time too, just really took it to a new level.
We basically got a sister free vacation. So who wouldn't want to do that when they're your best friend and you get to play with Lego all the time?
Absolutely. And throughout the competition, you guys created several impressive builds. Which one out of the five that you guys got to do from episodes 1 to 5 stands out to you as a personal achievement?
So we've both agreed separately, but we agree that it was the caterpillar because the
Yes,
caterpillar was just fun. We were relaxed. We decided to try out new technique and just told ourselves it's time to get out of your comfort zone. And if we don't make it, we don't make it. And it ended up being absolutely fantastic. So there was a good reward for our efforts.
Absolutely. So, in this most recent challenge, you guys were tasked with demonstrating the movement of swinging. What was your approach to capturing that, and why did you guys at the time feel so confident with that choice?
What was the last
Or
part?
feel so confident with the choice of swinging?
Oh, I just, because we're new to motion and this was our second time in motion and getting in trouble, it was easy. I just felt it was an easy one to recreate. Obviously, some of the other guys created a lot more complicated builds, but I knew that we could accomplish swing at a minimum level and but still have fun with it, a story.
that's true. As a beginner with motion, I think swing was the easiest one for us to choose.
So, Anne and Luke actually selected both of you guys to directly compete against them. How did that feel to be just directly chosen as competitors and having to have that seen by the Brickmasters?
I think initially it was a little bit of a burn, but also I could see, their point. Our last build, our motion did not totally function correctly. So I would probably choose me too if I were them. It's a nice, easy beat there.
Absolutely. And the steampunk challenge, it seemed to be very visually striking and as you just stated, technically demanding. How did you guys in general want to approach this theme when you guys were thinking of the challenges to your build, which I thought still pretty was really cool.
Yeah, there's some behind the scenes conversations that occur a little bit. So at first, I thought we were really truly going to have to create something that was steampunk and exemplify that, but that wasn't it. They definitely let us have our own creativity as long as it had that motion in it. So I was nervous because steampunk is an area of art that I'm not great with, but they said, yeah, absolutely have at it. And as you can see, all the builds are varied, definitely varied, but we had a lot of fun with creating our own story and being able to include the motion.
Yeah, I don't think we've laughed so hard during a build. Once we decided to like let loose and have fun, and we looked at each other and we're like, it's raining cats and dogs. We cackled for at least a good half an hour.
And that's really cool to hear. Now, managing time and pressure is also critical in a competition like this. So, what strategies, when you guys were building for the last couple of episodes, how did you guys were able to stay focused and deliver your best work within the constraints on each episode?
Absolutely. I think one of our greatest strengths is our storytelling. So some people struggle with that. And as you can see, like in season 4, the first group out spent hours trying to focus on a story, whereas we had going in each time, the storytelling, that's your first element. That's your strategy, is to go in and just have the story ready to go so you can focus on getting the build going. And she and I worked really well together when it came to our stories so that we can get right to building right away.
Absolutely. Now, on to a more emotional part about the episode. So, your guys' elimination was very emotional, and the judges described your story as very inspiring and incredible. What was your initial reaction to hearing those comments and even getting to watch that back? Because it really was an emotional moment for viewers.
Honestly, I even got choked up all over again. They
Yeah.
probably didn't show it much on TV, but I was tearing up and trying to stay really composed while listening to what Amy had to say. But it's true, we're the first sister team on there, and I got to go on with my best friend, who's my sister, and I just hanging out and loving with her and like working on, Lego with her was just amazing. And so I think about it and I get choked up all over again.
Yeah, I definitely choked up, especially when I saw Amy's face all over again. It's very sincere, and you, because you don't want anyone to go. You want, there are artists, and that's a sensitive area. But I think that we created a good set a good example for women and girl builders, and I was really happy with the way they portrayed us, especially there at the end, just showing that there was a lot of love and that we had a good time, and that any other girl can get out there and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just to stay there, what insights would you guys say you learned about each other as teammates, sisters, and competitors throughout the show? And are there any memorable moments that maybe we didn't see that you guys want to share with us?
Yes. So I would say you have a strong bond with your teammate, even if they weren't someone that you were that strong with before. Be prepared to bend, really, to bend with each other, because you both have strengths, whether you know it or not, and you both have something to contribute to the team. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's true. I would say also like there a memorable moment that they didn't capture was maybe our exit interview when I got choked up talking about how much I loved my sister and she got choked up how much she loved Lego.
It's so true. That was in there. And really, you didn't
Yeah.
see a lot of banter with us and with Will and Ann. It was incredibly playful. Will Arnett, not with Will and Ann, sorry, Luke and Ann. Will Arnett is always trying to get people to get into little battles. And we really had a good time. I'm assuming Ed
Yeah.
just didn't have the ability to fit it in. But oh my gosh, that scene of us throwing cats and dogs at them was an absolute
That's
blast.
true. They didn't put that in there. We threw cats and dogs
No,
at them. I think I even hit Luke right in
yes,
the head too.
a lot of fun.
That's cool. And it sounds like, so basically your experience is really positive because we were even gonna go further and ask how was your experience influence your guys' perspective on creativity and just building with Lego or in general in life?
Oh my gosh. I think that for me, it really makes me see just how much more I'm capable. I kind of would like it if someone went around timing me on a lot more things. When someone puts that pressure on you, you do, well, I guess you either make it or you break, right? But that pressure I thought was really good in pushing us. Plus, Amy and Jamie as brickmasters, their insights, a lot of which you do not see on the show. Their insights are absolutely incredible and take you and really elevate you as an artist at a whole new level.
That's true. They come over and they just mention one little thing and they get your mind firing off and they can say so much without like saying anything.
Yes, absolutely.
That sounds really cool. You guys really truly gained so much, and I really like to hear that from Lego Masters.
Yeah, yes, we did.
So, what advice would you guys offer to future Lego Master contestants preparing for the competition or anything?
Build, build a lot.
Yeah,
Build, learn motion, learn to work with Technic, not
Technic.
just the regular elements. And
Yeah.
just build, get a lot of sets, because those sets in them have a lot of different techniques that you will want to know, and just practice, because
Hmm.
yeah, because that's what you're going to need, is a lot of different techniques.
So, finally, now that your time on the show has concluded, what are your next steps? And are there any projects that you want to link or tell us in this interview, or just any goals that or have been further inspired by your experience that you'd like to share?
Brittain, did you want to say?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, I'm in the different season of my life right now. I just had a baby, and so I've just been concentrating on my family right now and trying to meet up with Niki as many conventions as possible. But I feel like for her, like she's got a lot more going on.
Absolutely. And I have an Instagram page, Niki Builds Bricks, and I can be found there. Not only I feel like I'm an ambassador between, people who are on this show and the community, not only to inspire children, but other adults who want to get into Lego building. So I'm going to a lot of conventions. I just got back from one and had one a few weeks ago where I speak on panels. I like to do, autographs and talking with kids, and people have a lot of questions about what it's like to be on the show and what it's like to build. So I just continue building. I have so many plans in store, including recreating some of the builds on the show. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. That's gonna be really cool to see and just to keep
Yeah.
your journey forward. So thank you guys so much, Niki and Brittain, for sharing your journeys and everything going on in your life right now and insights. And we look forward to keeping up with all of your future endeavors and seeing what you guys build next.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks for having
you.